Welcome to Oregon Voters Digest, the program that brings forward the social and political issues that are important to people living here in the Pacific Northwest. And now, your host, Bruce Broussard.
Welcome again to this segment of the Oregon Voters Digest. I'm Bruce Broussard, your host, and this is just a continuation, folks, of focusing on our new form of government here in the city of Portland. You saw the other two shows. I had two guests on that talked specifically to issues of solutions, if you will, in our last two segments. One of which was a senior citizen, a young lady by the name of Liz Taylor, who's been around. She gave you a good perspective of seniors, if you will, which is an area of concern because there's not too many people that have resumes that talk to the whole issue of seniors. As far as the new group, we have got over about 100 people or so running for these various commissions, and there are seniors in each district. Seniors in each district. But she was basically talking about black seniors in many ways and the poor aspect of it and the relationship between the county government and the city government. And because the county government is really responsible to that particular segment of seniors as far as benefits and things of that nature, and folks need to know that. So anyway, and then the other segment I had on was the young man by the name of Antonio, who spoke about the whole his background and whatever with reference to our youth. And how we needed to concentrate and talking about his time in gangs and how he's changed his life and the whole 9 yards and he's a contributor and he's talking about again a solution, trying to making sure that he's going to focusing on the youth, if you will, to prevent them from and educating you about what it is and how he's transitioned, and hopefully this is being shared with other folks that might be possibly in that same situation. But anyway, so now here we are. And this particular segment, I'm going to bring in on a gentleman again too, who has a only resume in this form of government. He's running in District Number 3. You've seen him before, and I've got him here now because he brings something that folks are not aware of, and I'm talking about our activities. And he's been in parks. He's been employed by the city of Portland in parks for a number of years. He retired out of that arena, and you can imagine he's been acquainted by all the folks who visit our parks, our beautiful parks here in the city of Portland that we're fortunate to have. But as far as activities and the people and community, they visited many, many times over. And so I thought I'd bring John over here, to talk a little bit about what he thought about the shows that he'd seen before that we just had. And also I want to talk to him about some of the things I thought was of interest, and we had these conversation about him running for District Number 2, and maybe bringing up the idea of we got 3 commissioners sitting up in each of these districts, and the idea that, well, okay, fine, you got 3 people, and a lot of these folks are not as aware of what's going on like John, and so we chatted a little bit about this and brought it on the table, talked about it, maybe splitting up that district into 3 different, like District A, B, and C. Yeah, so you got 3 districts, you got 3 commissioners, and given the responsibility, and then maybe do the community door knock, if you will. Yeah. Where these folks would be more responsible and get to know people, because people need to get out. So now all of a sudden get out to John's Parks where he was once before. So anyway, we can talk a little bit more about that, but I want to bring in John up and maybe he can chat a little bit about that. And then the other thing we want to take advantage of is that if we need to get an update on where we are with reference to the numbers of people who are running. I noticed that there was some politics there. Some things of late, even I think in District 2 or whatever, it was in the paper or whatever. But anyway, John, give us an update. But primarily what I'd like for John to do is maybe respond to what he saw and how it might fit some of the things that he might want to use as part of and aware of the interviews that I had with both Liz and Antonio. And then at the same time, talk a little bit about his district. And then we got enough time then maybe we can just go on and talk about this first part, and then the second half of an hour, maybe we can do the update or something like that. And if not that, we'll just continue on. Mm-hmm. Okay? All right, John. Talk to me. You want to do the update first, or you want to
Well, I'm still out there talking to people, and a lot of the things that they want to talk about is how's this new form of government going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay, I got you. All right.
so there's a lot of talk about how this new form.
Lift your cover up a little bit, yeah, so we can see your eyes there, John.
So it's a
little,
matter
a little bit more, just a little bit more, just a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, just a little bit more, yeah, because they want to see your eyes. There you go.
Okay.
Okay,
But
good.
it's the fact that right now, when this election comes up, the mayor and District 1 and 2 will get a 4-year shot, and the auditor and District 3 and 4 will get a 2-year shot, and that's to get the overlap, so that when the people come time to vote, 1 year they'll be voting for just the auditor or the mayor, depending on how it's set up, and the other year they'll be able to vote for the auditor or the mayor and the councilors in their district.
Commissioners, okay. Now tell me this. Now you said 1 and 2, right? We'll get 4 years.
Correct.
Right?
At
And
the
then
beginning.
three and 4.
And 3 and 4 will get a
The
2-year shot
okay.
the first time.
Now, when it comes around that cycle for the 3 and was it
3 and 4 the second cycle will
What happens then?
be for 4 years.
They'll be 4. Okay,
yeah.
they'll be there 4 years.
Yeah.
The 3 and 4, the second cycle.
The second time.
And what about
2 years.
1 and 2? Will they be the same thing?
They will be 4 years when it comes around, because you want to have the overlap so that the citizens will always have somebody to vote for. Say like in 1 and 2 next year, they will be voting for the auditor only.
I got you.
See, and but then the year after that,
got you.
then the deal is 3 and 4 will be
We'll do
voting
4
for the
for
mayor
4.
only.
Oh, only for the mayor.
That's correct.
I got you.
See, so they're trying to get that overlap
That cycle. Okay.
and on a cycle. It's like the Multnomah Education Service District Board, which I served on. They had 2 at large and 5 districts. So the fact is that you are voting for one of the at large, and your people are just at large, but you're always voting for somebody that you're paying taxes to.
I see. Now, let's see, the counties is still 2 and 2. It's 2-year terms or 4-year terms?
They're 4-year terms,
yeah,
but the
okay, I
deal
got
is
you.
the first time this
I
will
got
be a
you.
2-year.
I got you.
And then
But it'll always be 4 years after that then?
yes.
That
and
cycle,
then
okay.
In 2016, the Multnomah County is going to go into the this type of election.
Right.
So,
Sounds good.
And evidently it'll be in the general only. Now the interesting thing this time, now in 1968, President Johnson said he wasn't going to run,
Right.
and it was a storm of campaigning that drowned out everything else, because nobody, the press and nobody wanted to hear about anything but the presidential election through the primary and then into the general. So this is a case that President Biden dropped out real late in the system. So the fact that then they have Kamala Harris and Joe Walz, and so I think when we get into October, they're going to be the real hammering for the presidential election between Trump and Kamala.
Right.
And the thing is that they're going to drown out everything else.
Well, that's why we're doing what we're doing here.
Oh, that's
on
right.
Community
So,
television.
you
You know
know,
what I'm saying? Got me? To make sure that we've got a very important situation here in our own rights. We're not being trying to be selfish. We're trying to focus on getting our city back.
Right. Normal cycle here, you would have in Oregon. You'd have the hubbub of the primary,
Right.
and then there would be a long delay until
Right.
after Labor
Right.
Day,
Right.
and then they make a run into the
Right.
general. But this time,
The presidential
we're
election
making
thing.
a lot of noise. But I think the presidential race will really heat up come the 1st of October, because that's when the early voting ballots will
Right.
be coming out,
Right.
and it'll be October 16th for
Right.
Oregon, and hopefully the voters pamphlet will get out about a week early, so
Right.
people have a chance to look at it. think in the primary, the voters pamphlet come out about 3-4 days, which wasn't really enough time for the people to get a look. And the fact that there's
Now, when is that coming out?
again,
When is that coming out? The voters pamphlet?
the voters pamphlet is supposed to be October 16th.
October 16th.
When the ballots, and about a week before, hopefully a week before, will be the voters pamphlet, so they have a look.
Okay.
And the last I heard, there was 118 people
Under the new
on
form
the
of
ballot in this
For the
coming
city.
election. And the fact is, the voters pamphlet in Multnomah County is going to look like a small town
Wow,
phone book.
wow.
There's so many of them.
Because you're going to have both, right? You're going to have the county and the
So we'll have
and
some
the city.
county, and we'll have some
city. Then you got the congressional races.
be the
yeah.
city and
You
the
got
congressional races,
Yeah,
and,
you got all that
and the
stuff.
president and
Yeah,
all that
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
So it should be pretty thick this time.
Yeah.
And so we'll see how this pans out. Now, one thing about
Now wait a minute. Now, before we leave it, now clearly understand. Now the city, as far as the new city government, that's not a separate pamphlet.
no, it'll be all combined. It'll be one pamphlet.
Okay,
so,
one pamphlet.
So
Okay.
that's why the pamphlet's going to be so big
Right,
this
right,
time, is because you have because normally the general election pamphlet's
Yeah,
not too bad, because
right.
you have one from
two
each
candidates, yeah.
each candidate
You mean, right,
from each
right,
office from each
right,
side.
right,
But
right.
this time, this is a
It'll be
real
everything.
free
It's
for
gonna
all.
be- It's going to be a free, big time.
Yeah, big time.
And that's why we're doing what we're doing and focusing
Right.
on the new city form of government, because it's so important. It's the largest city in the state of Oregon, and right now it's in disarray. And
Correct.
we've got to
And
get this squared away, because if we
Yeah.
can get this squared away and get some very responsible people sitting in that seat,
All right.
those seats talking to solutions, then it'll have an impact on the entire state.
Correct, because they're going to see how this works, and they're going to see where they want to do that.
Yeah, and
Now,
they're trying to introduce it now in the legislature.
yeah. Well, it's actually on the ballot. I think it's
I-
ballot 118.
But it's a toughie situation. It'd be best if they just watch let the city, let the city
Yeah.
government get squared away.
Right, and there was, I think Alaska used it, and they want to get rid of it, and then somebody else got it, and they haven't used it yet, and they want to get rid of it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so, and the one thing about this, when you sign up for your district, and you're not signing up for 1, 2, or 3. You're
Right.
just signing up for the district.
Right.
So out of this crowd,
Right.
whoever the top vote getters,
Yeah.
the top 3 will get on the ballot.
Right.
And so the thing is, when it's come time for re-election, you only won't be able to pick out that consular as your target because of their voting record. You'll just have to say, I will do a better job because these people aren't doing a better job, and then hopefully you'll get enough vote to bump them out.
But that's what we're doing now, campaigning.
Correct.
Because you're really out of the race.
Yeah, but there's nobody in there now.
Right.
But,
Yeah. But like you said, if they go through this process and the bumping, whatever final top 3 they come up with, that's it.
yeah, when they finally get it, and it could take a week.
Right. But then my point, there's no general election. You understand what I'm saying? The general election is now.
Yeah, and so the deal is this will be campaigning in the fall all the time from now on.
Right.
And the thing is that if they have hot topics, you could get a good turnout. If there's not much going on, people don't vote, which is really a shame.
Yeah.
Because when I registered to vote, I've voted in every election since I turned 21, because that was the law at the time. All generals, all primaries, all specials.
Yeah.
And it's important, and I tell young people who are starting out, I says, it's important to vote, because the lower the turnout, more power your vote has. And so I've talked to some young people, and says, they see me years later, says, I've been in every one. And I says, well, that's good, because it means they're studying the candidates and the issues, and going beyond some of the folderol and false advertising and that type of stuff, and a lot of it's going on.
But again, there's still a concern from the standpoint, maybe some of the folks that are going to be basically getting up to the top are utilizing the monies, if you will,
Yeah.
to give an image
Yeah.
that may not be there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even now you sense some of it a bit, because I've noticed that there was a big article on some of the possibility. I think it's been investigated. Attorney General is investigating this issue.
Oh, swapping the money around.
Swapping the money, swapping the money to try to make sure they get that extra $40,000. You got me? Now, what were they saying in that article? How were they swapping the money?
Well, they would get some money, and then they would donate it among themselves so they could get their numbers up.
Yeah.
And then that way they would be able to get that $40,000.
And or more, right?
Yeah. So
that's
now it used to be. Bob was talking about the fact that there was more money available, but because there's so many people, they've cut the amount of money that they're going to get.
Right.
But still, it's a good chunk.
Right.
And
that taxpayers are going to be paying for.
Yeah, taxpayers. Yeah, we'll be paying.
Yeah, because it's not just an endless pot of money that's sitting there. I mean, something's going to have to happen to replace some of the services that we need. And in many
that's
cases,
correct. Yeah.
And if that's the case, then what's going to happen is that city council is going to have to raise the taxes again.
Yeah.
To get the money, I mean, for the services. But then that means those city commissioners, those newly elected folks, are going to have to fight for those services back to the table. But again, going back to the citizens, to the voters, to say, look here, we're going to need some extra money to get this service back. Okay?
Yeah, well, in fact, in yesterday's mail, I got a thing that they have, like the Model Cities program when they had that, and I forget is it TSP or something like that. And anyway, where they're going to have these different taxing districts, and there's a couple downtown and about 4 or 5 on each side. And so that means they're going to basically make these people pay a little bit more money here and a little bit more money there. And I think the deal is they shouldn't do it now because you have this city council dumping it on the next city council. I think they should wait until January or so the people on the next city council kind of stick their foot into it themselves. Because if they do it now and it goes haywire, they could say, well, we didn't do it, it was those people in the past.
Exactly.
And that's how, like when they made jacked up the Social Security retirement, it was done in 83 or 86, so the people are in office now, well, we didn't do that. Of course, they're not correcting it either.
Well, I think one of the biggest mistakes they make is we're not educating and telling the public and telling the folks who are going to be representing the various areas that they're employees.
Yeah.
They're not employers. You know, and then we tend to forget that, because in most cases, when by the time you get to the voting for the people and whatever, it's just it's sort of a shift. The people.
Yeah, but one of the things is they take to pay for this big wads of money.
Right.
What they're doing is they're doing away with some of the lower jobs that are actually doing jobs to that actually service the citizens.
They need it. Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like you say, you know, somebody that drives a street sweeper in front of your house once a month is really doing more for you than somebody that's shining a chair down there with their butt in downtown. And I remember when I was with the Portland Parks, and towards the end they were wanting to cut back a little bit. Well, they were cut back in the field because the thing is, they just write somebody off that's out there in the hinterland. See, it's not the same as looking across the desk and say, well, sorry, you got to go. So they take out the chicken way and they hit somebody way out. Normally I've been doing it pretty much through attrition as people retire.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, they offered me a buyout, and they were wondering whether I was going to take it, but it was enough to pay off the house.
I got you. So you say, well, thank you very much. You got to do it.
Like I tell people, I says, the day you retire, you got your house paid for,
that's right.
fairly new car paid for, and if you don't have champagne taste on a beer budget, life is good.
But you make that other point in regards to how they look at it after the deal, trying to figure out, well, the folks who are more well-read or well-educated, got more money, if you will, they'll be able to say, okay, fine, dump those taxes over there to this poor person over here, poor district, if you would, this other district,
Yeah.
because they don't have the same kind of skills, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but on the other hand, they started out with from the standpoint of saying we got 4 districts, and they tried to equal the population in each one of them. Why can't they maintain that same deal? If you got a big pot of money here, you just divide it accordingly. You got the number, a quarter.
Yeah.
A quarter. You just do a quarter for each district. But
Well,
they're not doing it that way. But the politics is the powers to be are still there, and they're still trying to get everything fixed before the new group come in. See?
Yeah, well, that's divided pretty equal by population.
Yeah.
But if you look at the maps, the 2 biggest districts is 2 and 4.
Right.
Because 2 has a lot of industrial area, and 4 has a lot of forest area. And the deal is that people in 2 that are in business are going to squawk to them, says, we need more money for this, that, and the other thing, and they're probably going to get it.
Well, but at the same time, that's where most of the majority of the federal dollars go to, District 2,
Yeah.
i.e. the black population, the feds.
Yeah.
And they take that money and spend it elsewhere. I mean, you know, like for was it PDC and all this kind of a thing and whatever, urban renewal and all this stuff and whatever. But I think again, like I said, you got 2. You got 2 and 4, right? 2 and 4 kind of.
Yeah, the biggest one, geographically.
And what is the downtown area? What district is
4 is the west side plus the rich part of southeast.
Yes. So that's 2 and 4.
Selwood and Westmoreland and Eastmoreland.
Yes,
so
that's interesting.
It's the rich part of southeast.
So 2 and 4.
2
okay.
and 4, yeah.
And so, but again, the federal dollars is 2.
Yeah.
You see what
Correct.
I'm saying? You got me? The federal dollars is 2, and as you say, in the well-to-do, and they've got those 4-year increments.
Yeah.
And the other, the 1 and the 3, and they're in a whole different ball game. But again, the city of Portland is part and parcel of 4.
Yeah, and 1 is the east, and then the 3 is just southeast,
Yes.
central, and a little bit of northeast.
Yes.
Up there where the freeway and
205. That's 205.
205 and that
Yeah,
part there.
yeah.
So it's the
Blue collar.
yeah, and
That's blue collar. They're not rich. They're
yeah.
not rich.
The if you look at it, it's not too gerrymandered much this time.
Right.
But it's
But look at what's coming up.
2030 comes around, why it could get pretty fancy.
Right. Because I had a concern about the whole idea of putting all of the seats downtown.
Yeah.
You know, they should have been in each district. And that's when we got that basic. We chatted about that because parks, we know we got parks in each of those areas. Got me?
Yeah.
And they'll be right to the people. So why not go make sure that those folks are there with the addresses,
Yeah.
where the people can reach out to them.
Yeah, there was
Downtown's
a guy
a bit
running
more.
for city council a while back, and he was running around with a map of the city and the dime, because the city commissioners, city council, all lived within that dime except for one person, and that was Terry Shrunk, and he lived out in North Portland. But and if they wanted to change, they could have gone to districts with the old system, but they've had a thing against the commission's form of government for a long time, and I was with the city of Portland for parks for 32 years, 8 months, and we had good mayors and we had really good park commissioners, and of course they're saying, well, you hire them and they don't know anything. Well, you've got professional staff have a vested interest in having things work well, and so the deal is they don't give you bad information because they know it comes around to bite you. And I know that when I was active in the union before become into management, why one of the other bureaus tried to pull the wool over the eyes of Commissioner Mildred Schwab, and it didn't work.
Yeah, she's a toughie.
They made a mistake, and the union people says Mildred Schwab rained them a good one. City Hall was shaking for an hour.
Excuse me, she was very much a community person.
Yeah,
very much so. But again, getting that particular point, you know, there's a rush to change a whole bunch of things now.
Oh yeah,
big rush. Whereas on the other hand, they start out with the basics. They got 4 different districts.
Yep.
And they've got 3 commissioners per district.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like saying in so many words, kind of there are many cities in each district, so to speak, because there's enough people there. See, if it was just one person there, it'd be a whole different ballgame. But now I'm saying that the entity needs to start looking at it from the same. Those folks who are running for office, in all due respect, should start fighting for, quote, the office space, and being right there. That's why we chatted about it, and that's why I agreed with you. And we talked about this whole piece of dividing the districts into 3 sub-districts.
Yeah, one of the things right now is I understand that they're going to have all the consulars downtown in City Hall. They're designing,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Changing that.
Yeah.
See, and the deal is, because I'm going to push for is get them out in the districts, because there's community buildings out there. They could be in one office in the community centers out there, so the people could come and talk to them.
Well, that's the whole idea.
And they can rotate the city council meetings out in those community centers, because they've got enough room to set it up for an audience. And I think each one of the community buildings I'm familiar with, there's enough room to have 400 people come in to the city council meeting.
Yeah.
And that
well, again, let's spend some time on that piece for a minute, because when you think about it, you're right. That's their representative, and in all due respect, it would shorten the amount of time for the on-the-job training if you got just all the way it's going to be set up now, because folks are going to be struggling just trying to maintain what they are. People can still be confused. Who do I call?
Yeah.
And who's going to come back and talk about my issues? All of the issues are going to be taught in all due respect. And I know that the downtown folks are probably trying to figure out how do we get that downtown thing squared away. I hear that, but let's be fair about this stuff, because the so-called the merchants are maybe downtown, but the purchasers are in the community.
Yeah.
You want the community folks to come back downtown, and sometimes the best way to this is to make sure they got deal with some of their immediate needs right now. The whole issue of crime and public safety and things of that nature. And so, but like I said before, if you divide that we got neighborhood associations, right? They're all over the place too. And if you divide let's say district number 2, you divide that into 3 different areas, because you got 3 commissioners. Got me?
Yeah.
They would identify with the neighborhood association for that particular area, and vice versa, and do that community kind of a deal, if you will, community deal, where it would be the responsibility of the commissioner to go and knock on all of those doors in their respective little area, and also be in communication with the neighborhood association, which is already there,
Right.
and make sure that they have someone to go to. Got me? Because right now it's not designed that way.
No, you have it downtown, and you and I know what it's like to go downtown.
Oh, so you can't park, and you can't park anywhere.
No.
You know what I mean? And with the parks, like I say, with the parks aspect of it, you got parking area there, and then rather than have them all just in one city park office, all 3, then you got problem. But if you got it divided, then they're meeting on different dates, if you will, and they know, the folks in that area would know when to go and talk about their issues.
Yeah, well, I figured, that say I get in, and I figure the deal is there's 3 of us, and hopefully we have at least one assistant each, that we could divide it up so that we have 5-day coverage or 7-day coverage, and have it from reasonably early in the morning to fairly late at night, so the fact that the people could come in and file a grievance, or fill out a form or something, and check it out, and in fact give them telephone numbers, contact numbers, because when I was a park supervisor, that's what I did a lot of times when people would call up to me, and I said, well, this problem here is not mine, it's at Public Works, and I would give them a phone number to call. And they were really happy with that, because somebody would answer their
Right.
In fact, one time I got to work, we worked 7 to 3:30, and it was about 6:20 in the morning, and the guy says, "Call me right away." So I called him, and he says, kind of startled on it, and I says, is this he says, "What time is it?" By then I says, it's about 6:35. I says, "This a little early?" Yeah. How about if I call back at 9? He
Okay,
said,
I got you.
So
I hear you.
this one guy called. I'd always call him at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, wow. Well, like I say, it's a problem. It's a problem now. And so the folks who are running for office don't have the same power base that the person who's in office here right now.
Yeah.
The power base who has control of the city hall right now.
Yeah.
Got me? And so it's very important, because when you start thinking about you're going to have only one assistant, well, realistically, the assistants, you can add to the assistants by working with the neighborhood association.
Yeah.
And wherever they meet, guess what? They will be meeting that same kind of a complex. Get volunteers. Because they want to know they want to make sure that they're able to deal with all of the issues, right? You got me? And so the neighborhood association could be working with it right now, identifying what are the neighborhood association right now. They've got paid employees already there.
Yeah.
And you got volunteers. You got people that would volunteer to sit in those offices if you're involved, because that's what they do.
Yeah.
See, and it would save a lot of time. And these people are already familiar with the issues. It just makes good sense to use what we already have, but we're not doing that.
Well, I got kind of vision with some of those neighborhood associations that get a new counselor in there, and they're going to come in there. We're the experts. Just listen to us. No,
That's not going to happen.
Some kickback.
No, there's going to be some. Well, the employers are sitting in the neighborhood association.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
That's an asset in many ways. So if you divide the thing and give a responsibility with one person that's supposed to be knowing what that terrain is all about, and they've knocked on those doors, you know what I mean? Like community, right? Got me?
Or the thing is that
Can do it together.
They could be divided up by the functions in that district, so that.
Well, but still, no, that commissioner has to run that area.
Yeah.
Because it's confusing when you got two other people trying to talk at the same time. You got a mayor. There it is. That's the person that you're talking with, right? You got me? And making and then boom, that person can put some things together. Then when they get together, compare notes, and then they divide the monies accordingly. That'd be more effective than anything else. Then people will say, "Look, I'm going to the meeting," because they're going to be talking about my area.
Yeah.
But if I get to go to a meeting over here and over here and over here, I mean, with three commissioners sitting at the same table on the same diocese with different views, and they're trying to transition.
Yeah.
To get into this.
It's going to be real interesting, and the thing is that it's still I'd like to have an office out there in the district rather than downtown, because downtown is not very friendly.
Well, John, we're going to rely on you. I mean, you're running for office, so you may need to convey that, if you will, to those folks when you're out there lobbying right now.
Yeah.
Where you see, you need to throw that on the table.
Yeah.
How's it going, by the way?
Not too bad, but the main thing that they're asking about is how this voting system's going to work. Yeah,
but that's not the issue.
No, but that's what they're asking about.
Yeah, but John, you're running for office.
That's right, and
what you do, you said, look, this is what we need to be talking about. Why can't you make that statement?
Well,
because you got the background.
Well, it doesn't take too long before they're talking about the homeless program and other things, and so I'm answering all those questions.
Yeah.
And the fact that and one thing I want to push for is the fact that they have a bootstrap hiring, so that we could hire some people from, say, the lower end of our society who could come in and then move up. Because
now, for what? What's the purpose?
It could be anything. They could start in the parks or water bureau or public works.
You're talking about as far as servicing the services.
So rather than contracting out, because my 32 years, 8 months, when it comes to contracting out, I have kind of a bitter taste, because the people that were supposed to police the contracts weren't policing the contracts. But when I had employees doing it, they wanted to do a good job.
Right, because they're working for you.
Oh, yeah, because they don't want to do the job over. And in fact, when I got to be a supervisor, in that one park, they had redone half the irrigation the year before, and it took the guy that had that park. Hydraulic leaks are like electrical leaks.
Right,
you fix this one and this one.
Right.
It took basically to get that freshly contracted air. It took them 3 years to get it chasing down all the leaks.
Wow.
So,
Well, John, you can change that. You already got the background.
that's right. But the thing is that instead of having contracting out for some of these jobs, have them full-time employees who have a chance to climb the ranks and had several of them. Because I pride myself, more of my seasonals become permanents than my contemporaries, because I like seeing people get ahead. And so, in fact, 4 of them can become supervisors in other bureaus. So it was I helped them.
But John, are you being able to share? I'm still getting right back to you. You were running for office.
That's correct.
To take one of those seats. You should be there. Someone like you. That's why you're here. That's why we're talking about this today.
But that's some of the issues I bring out to the citizens.
Well, okay, so you're bringing this out when you're going out there communicating. Okay, good. But okay, so the thing is that what sticks on the wall when you get through talking about this issue? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. That I think one of them, it makes a lot of sense because it relates to everything. We got 3 mayors down in each district.
Yeah.
And
some people are interested in clean air and have solutions.
But still you got 3 people. You can't talk to 3 people at one time.
No.
Because they're going to be trying to, on the defensive end of it, trying to say, wait a minute, let me tell you how I feel about the piece. Oh, wait a minute, let me tell you about my piece. By the time you get through, you're 3 years down the road, or they throw it out the deal. That's why you need, if you have this one person for that particular district, and the people are aware of where that leak was, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're talking about, say I have my third of the district, and somebody else has the other.
Yeah, everybody got a third of it. And then you guys can get together. Well, you can always call the other commissioners. Everybody, did you solve this problem? Yeah, this is the way I solved it. Then all of a sudden, guess what? Oh, good, I'll just apply that. See what I'm saying? But right now, we have nothing.
Yeah. One thing about it, we'll have three people per district, and I'm sure that the brain power is going to be plenty.
Yeah, but right now that's not where their minds are.
No, that's true.
To the issue. That's
right
not
now, they're trying to get elected.
They get elected to pick up that $150,000.
Yeah.
$150,000.
Yeah. So anyway, the deal is we'll see how this comes out. And like I said, come the 1st of October, the presidential election is going to go into full gear, and I think a lot of this is going to be just drowned out.
Well, no, not necessarily. Not here with the Oregon Voters Digest. That's why we're having this conversation. Yeah. That's why you're sitting in this seat right now, talking to us. You just happen to be running for office. Ordinarily, you'd still be sitting in the seat. We'd be talking about issues.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Okay.
You got background and you have a lane.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to say that we're trying to, basically it's a conflict of interest. This, that. No, this is community television. Yeah. And other folks have been invited. This is beyond a free ad. This is community. We're talking to the employers, if you will, and trying to get them to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And right now, obviously, the city of Portland, under the present leadership and whatever, the folks who basically have been supporting that entity has been that structure of the downtown. And I'm saying, fine, we want downtown back. We want that living room looking good, okay?
Yeah.
Because that's what we normally do, get out the home and go shopping there and spend our weekends there, that kind of a deal, sitting there near the river, all that kind of good stuff. Okay, that's fine. But when under this new form of government, we're changing, we still need to identify with that piece. And they can do that with district number 4, right?
Yeah.
That's 4. And those are people in most cases who are basically running the city, so to speak, if you will, so to speak. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. But remember, if these other districts falter, they do have the majority vote.
Yeah.
The other 3 districts.
Well, the thing is that 7 out of 12 constitutes a majority, and 7 out of 12 could get a feather in the wrong place, and we can be in real trouble because the new mayor will not have veto power. That's
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's why we got to start talking now, and let the powers to be sitting in the seats right now. Wait, there's a concern. Make sure you involve these other districts in the deal. Don't start trying to change as much. Then we really got a problem.
Yeah.
And then cutting services. You're going to cut services in poor areas.
Yeah.
In Southeast Portland, in Northeast Portland. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Then we got a real problem. Yeah. And we're still paying. And these folks who are going to be sitting in those seats are going to be basically right now focusing on one thing: how do I get reelected?
Yeah.
To pick up that $150,000. I hate to put it that way, but that's the way. That's what I'm feeling.
Well, I remember when this city paid elections come out, there was some people were scamming the system, and they were doing it to get money, and
Exactly.
a few of them got in trouble. But
Yeah.
but some people could get away with it, because they know how to dance the figures.
Yes, yes. But like I said, but now we're doing it. We experiencing this now.
Yeah.
With reference to people trying to, how do I get more numbers to get that $40,000?
Well, those people that were doing the shift there, I think
Yeah.
there was 6 of them that are under investigation from the Secretary of State.
I thought it was 11. I thought the number, but it was just 6.
Maybe you saw it. Well, it's probably pretty easy where they could have been more people that
doing
found
it.
out more.
Yeah.
So
yeah. We don't know.
No.
But it's under investigation now. See, and that's my point. My point is that we're kind of like saying some folks are trying to figure out what can I do to keep everything as much as I possibly can, because in this new form of government, I want to be losing some stuff.
Yeah.
So what can I do to change the rules such that, boom, we'll divide the money accordingly to whatever the areas, and they've got some areas that are more responsible, more can articulate and whatever, and got the power, right?
Yeah, because you have the citizens more involved, and so they make sure that they get more of their dues than some of the areas like the poor areas. One thing is they're not that involved in the system. And
Exactly.
So you actually,
right now.
Yeah, you have to look out for them, and that's the whole thing. It's just like when we were officers, we had to look out for the enlisted.
Exactly, and my point. But what we went with is that we're looking out. I mean, like I said, when they divided it into 4 different sections, I thought it was a heck of an idea, and for the start with having 3 responsible people per district. Makes a lot of sense in many ways, because now I can pick up the phone and call someone, and then someone will pick up that phone, and I know that person. And by putting that third piece rather than trying to get letting one person be a more powerful and communicating for the other 2, that doesn't help the situation out at all.
Yeah.
See, but if everybody, if they got equal power from the citizens, from the people who are living in that district. You know what I mean? I.e. neighborhood association. I'm saying.
Yeah, but the way I feel is that they should have made 12 districts. 1 consular per district, and maybe the fact that we could change that by putting on the ballot to change that once we get in, and if the people find out that maybe they would rather be in a district for themselves rather than say sharing this thing for a bigger district. But we'll just have to see how this works out.
But you said 12. Now wait.
Well, there's 12 consulars. So if you had a district for each one of them.
Well, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's unofficial. It's dividing the district among 3 consulars. But if you turn around and had actually a district for a consular, and there would be 12 of them.
Well, that's no. You got 4 districts now.
Correct.
Okay, district number 1, number.
And you got 3 people, and so you're saying the deal is we should divide that district in thirds, which does have some merit.
Right, that would be 12. That would be 12 totally.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's unofficial, say so.
Yeah, but I know. But we're just trying to figure out how does it get to the people who are paying the dues. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
And they're not getting the deal. These people need to come seniors need to be coming out of their homes, and they need to be going to their parks and feeling safe, being able to walk the streets or whatever along that line. And that's where it meets the road, if you will. And then because right now, I mean, this whole idea of getting all these people to come downtown, being controlled by one entity or something like that, that's not going to help the situation out at all.
No.
And so we're just trying to bring it up now when one can share their opinion. That's what we're doing. We're just sharing an opinion right now for discussion.
And a lot of these things that we're talking about, hopefully we can work this thing out once things get rolling into the system, because the deal is, as a public servant, you're supposed to serve those people and get your brains together.
As a public service employee.
Yeah. And the deal is that's what I did for 32 years, 8 months, and then of course I was in the Army Guard, Army Reserve, Army Guard for 28.
Right.
I know about public service, and the deal is they're supposed to benefit from my sweat.
Right, exactly, because we're paying the bill.
paying the bills.
And then if you're doing the job, it's great aspect of it.
Yeah.
And then now's the time to talk about it.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice to be able to see whether or not folks could bring those issues up on the table. And then and because those people, if it's done right, the folks who are running now that might not be elected should kind of like make it from the standpoint of saying, well, next time around I can run for something else, or I can continue running. They don't just don't let them sit up there and say, do anything that I have to do to get there. And once I get there, I can do anything I want to do.
Yeah. Well, I have a bent for public service. The deal is, when I'm in there, the deal is I will do my best to see that they get what they should, you know. And in fact, as a park supervisor, sometimes I'd drive around in the evenings and on weekends and see people out in the parks having a good time, and I figured the effort was worth it because they're enjoying the fruits of our labor, you know, for the work crew that I had. And I told them, the crew, I said, you know, you ought to take a drive around sometime and see how people are using it. And some of the guys did, and it was really a rewarding feeling, the fact that our effort had been put out for something and people were enjoying it.
Well, our parks are, it's a major, as far as I'm concerned, it's at the top of the line. That's where the kids play. That's where you can get out and throw a blanket out there on the ground there, if you will, and you can barbecue if you want to. I mean, it's an enjoyable sight right there in your own neighborhood.
Yeah, they had a park within 3/4 of a mile of every citizen.
3/4 of a mile.
3/4 of a mile.
And that's what I'm talking to.
Yeah.
We got to maintain that.
Yeah.
And right now, the way the structure is lined up, that's not going to be the case. And then what about the neighborhood association? What does that? What did they talk about? What about that as far as location?
Well, it depends on the neighborhood association, because some of them were more active and more reasonable and blended in with the city services than others. And some they got into power struggles and had vicious fights.
And they closed up the doors.
And just about, and people got fired or they got upset, and they were give up on dealing with them, and some moved out of town. In fact, that is one of the things that's happening in Multnomah County and the city of Portland. Is a lot of people are moving out, and the people that are moving out are the ones with money.
Well, we got to build it back up.
You got to get them
You
back.
ain't going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
That's why you're running. That's why you're sitting there. You got a lot of knowledge, buddy. You got a lot of knowledge and a lot of lane. And then so we are discussing something that's very, very important. The neighborhood association. How did it start to begin with? I'm sure when they divided it up, it's not in just one location. It's identifying within a population, right? Am I right?
Yeah. The when you look at the boundaries of the neighborhoods associations, they pretty much make sense. You know, there's this dividing line for the districts is pretty good this time. But like I said, 2030 you're going to have the census, and in 2031 you're going to have the redistricting, and 2032 you're going to be voting on within the new district, and it just depends on how much it's upset.
Right. But we know about the Congress deal. We know about that piece.
Yeah.
That's a legislative deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But what we got right now, we've got boundaries. We got addresses now.
Yeah.
For each district right now.
Yeah.
There's no confusion. We know now. We got to educate the people about what that address is all about.
Yeah.
And we just basically talking to, if I'm sitting up here with district number 2, I don't know where to go.
Yeah. Well, one of the things is that they're going to have to issue new voters registration cards, and it tells you which congressional district you're in and which.
I saw that. But they need a visual.
Yeah.
They need a visual with a line on it.
Yeah.
With a street number or something on there. Right? Got my point?
That's one of the good things about the voters pamphlet when it comes out, because they have a map of all those things.
Okay.
So the fact that they can look up the county boundaries and the new city boundaries,
part
metro and all that.
So that would be a visual, right? In the pamphlet.
In the voters pamphlet.
In the voters pamphlet. Okay, good. I mean, clearly, hopefully, they make the letters big enough that you can read the darn deal.
The print's not too small, but the maps I've seen over the years have been reasonably good.
Yeah, but this time I want it to be clear.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course,
we're going to be doing the show here on an ongoing
of course you and I will just spend a lifetime looking at maps because of the military.
Yes, right. But I'm just saying. But now I want to see some big numbers and big letters, if you will, for everybody, for that matter. So anyway, I think we're having a good discussion. I think we had a good point. You notice what I'm doing? I'm stretching it as much as I possibly can, so that your next interview with the rest of the group, you might consider throwing that out on the table.
I think what I'd like to see is that they've had the map of the city as the whole map, rather than being able to actually say, I want a map of District 3 or District 2 or District 4. So I can see the fine line of where those streets are.
You can't see them.
And the deal is, even...
where do you go to pick up a map now?
They tell you, get online.
See, but a lot of these seniors don't have
and
it.
the whole thing is on a 8.5 by 11 page.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous. That's insane.
That's terrible.
I've seen it. It's terrible.
So, but if you had just say number 4, which is the biggest one geographically, on a 8.5 by 11 sheet, why would be able to make more sense of it. And then same with number 2 and all that.
I recall that wasn't that one point in time the county, you go to the county to pick up a map or anything.
Well, it used to be through the elections. You used to be able to go down there and get one.
Yeah, the county, yeah.
Right. And the deal is,
what happened to that?
They just look it up online.
Well, John, you might want to bring that up in your lecture when you're running for office. You know, but we need that. The people need to see that.
Yeah. So I think the deal is that we could have that where they could dial up the city when it gets established, where they could actually call for.
No, we could do it now, John. You at the table. I mean, I want to make sure that we take advantage.
We'll call for it.
Yeah, do it now. They just say, look, we can't read the thing. I mean, you're gonna be, you're gonna have the rest of the folks that are there. Somebody's gonna be elected to the seats.
That's right.
See what I'm saying? Until now, the public is looking for someone who's going to be able to represent us and understand where our opinions are coming. I'm saying to you, I'm community. That's what we do here.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that this is an issue. Bring it up to the table. You know, and you run for office. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got another 6 minutes or so. Well, what do you think about the other comments? Public safety, a lot of times, I've identified it, District 2 is the one where we're going to have to really come up with the kind of solutions. And we got all kinds of assets there. I did a couple of shows, as you know, with Liz Taylor and Antonio just recently. You had the opportunity to observe both of the interviews. What did you think about those interviews?
Well, they had a lot of good points out, and they talked about how the black community kind of disappeared in that. In fact, the Memorial Coliseum was sold to the public as the Delta Dome when they were going to build that out there at Delta Park. Anyway, and then the city fathers and some of those people bought up all that land down there under eminent domain and model cities and urban renewal. And in fact, over in southwest Portland, from about in the far south, from about front up to about 5th Street, from the freeway, and from about Montgomery, that was the Jewish community over there, and they went through that and they bumped them out. And see, so it wasn't just the blacks that got stuck. It was the
Jewish community,
the Jews
also.
that got stuck.
Okay.
And of course, they were probably a little more aware of how the system worked, so they didn't get hurt as bad.
Right.
And then, as I understand, when they took over some of the places in the Memorial Coliseum and Albina and all that, they got. And then they turned around and they rented it out to the hippies, and the hippies were just messier than hell. And that's the thing about the homeless. So where really people object is because they're so messy. And then the deal is that runs your property values down. And so when they got a chance to be bought out, and they got out, and it's like when they had the Mount Hood Freeway, they wanted to decided on which way they're going to go, and they were going to go through my parents' house. Well, my dad retired from the Army, and he had paid off his house, and he says, well, we'll give you some money, and then you buy a new house. And my dad says,
I'm not gonna get a new.
hey, I don't want to get a 30-year mortgage,
Yeah, right.
because the cost of the housing went up so much,
Right.
and what they were offering would have been a down payment, maybe a little bit better, but the
no
deal is,
complete. Yeah, it should be just
you know,
total transfer if that's the case, right?
yeah, he'd have been 55 years old, 30-year payments.
Oh, my
What are you
God.
talking about? See?
Yes.
See.
Wow.
And these people sitting back and they say, no big deal, like some of them,
But they call it on the shots.
yeah, and the deals, I only bought one house, and I did not like the process, but I know people every 5 years they'd sell and buy.
Right.
How can you stand that?
Yeah.
And in fact, when I was going through it myself, the deal is every time I turn around, there's another fat hand sticking out there and everything. But so this is, so this is like the thing is when they moved out, the black community out of that area, and they just run their houses down. And like I said, is that they sold it. The Memorial Coliseum was sold as the Delta Dome, and then when they got the Coliseum built, I remember one guy running for office, and he says, the Memorial Coliseum is the best $3 million building that $4 million could buy.
Yeah.
So there's too much of this kind of money going on.
Yeah. Well, that's been the existence of our
Right. So
our country. I mean, but now we have a chance to possibly address that.
yeah.
I
And one of
think
the things is if we could.
gotta
Home
get-
ownership, and you get people settled in there, and then you have settled
More homeowners.
neighborhoods. See,
Yep.
so that people come in there and things are stable, because
Right.
usually when you're going to buy, some of the things what they say is look around how many of those houses are rentals.
Right. Exactly.
And in fact, there's big corporations, they're buying up all the single houses.
Yep. Exactly.
Now, some of them they buy up 4 or 5 in a row, and then they
Right.
turn around and come and put an apartment house in.
Right.
Or others, the fact that they keep these single houses, but the deal is, one thing about it, you got to have some place to live.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're paying over 30% of your income for monthly rent, well, that's pretty tough. And the further down you get, sometimes you're paying 50%.
Right.
And that's insane. But if you you want to work fairly close to school and fairly close to work, and it seems like the way they've done with the city roads and stuff, why it's tough to get around town.
Exactly. Very much so. Well, like I said, you got a big job.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're gonna have to share these opinions and let them know to look at the show.
They're going to hear no a lot.
But like I said, we are going through transition.
Yeah.
And it's not about trying to throw everybody under the rug, if you will, or whatever. The key is that we've got to be together. And some of those folks that have been basically ruling the roost need to understand that. But under this new form of government, there might be an opportunity, if you will, to kind of say, okay, let's do this. You've divided it equally, and then let's deal accordingly.
Yeah, and we do have to streamline the permit system, because just heard recently.
But who benefits more by under the present system?
Yeah.
Well, we got about 15 seconds. Look like we're going to do this another time. Does that make sense?
Okay. Always glad to see you.
Sounds good, buddy. All right, then. Have a good one. We got about 5 seconds. Okay, good. Well, anyway, folks, take care. Talk to you next week. Have a good one. Bye.
Yeah.